This is Surviving Survivor.
I usually don't want to talk about religion here on this podcast, but God came to Mary in a dream saying what was going to happen to her. And for Ozzy, the survivor gods came to him and told him what was going to happen to him in a dream. Mary listened. Ozzy did not listen. And that's where we're at in Survivor 50 on Surviving Survivor. I can't believe I just said that. I'm Emily McGlynn here with Abby Tarpey and Jack Freiser, who are don't even know what to say with all of this. And we have a very special guest, James Freiser, who comes on every once in a while, Jack's brother. Thanks for being here. It's been a little bit. We had a little short week hiatus. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling?
We're good. I don't know. Hopefully we can get a little preview of last week somewhere online, but there's a chance that there will be no video with it because Riverside was not my friend last night, apparently.
And that's really fine.
We will see. But I'm good. I'm happy to be back with you guys, and I'm excited for James to be here to talk about his thoughts on the season so far.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun. I have a lot of thoughts. It's been a great season so far.
Okay, very good. Before we got into it, Jack was saying that this was a dreadful episode. I think there is so much to talk about personally.
I said dreadful more in the lines of it was an upsetting episode to watch.
I agree.
I was really upset throughout the entire episode. One may say that I screamed at my computer because I was watching it on my computer, and I was like, "You fucking idiot! What the hell?"
You know it's bad when the tribal music gets melancholy. That's how you know it's not going in a good direction.
Dude, that was so brutal. So I mean, if we want to get into it, we can go straight to the spoilers.
Sure.
It was a 2-for-1 special. We got a split tribal and we lost Emily and Ozzy. And Ozzy's elimination was so depressing. He looked like he had just witnessed a murder. He was so sad. And he just poured out his heart and soul to everyone. I trusted you guys. But boy, oh boy, was the old Ozzy back to play this week. And as we learned real quick why Ozzy hasn't won in the past when he's played like that.
I like Ozzy, but low-key, he's not that good with strategy. He's very good at challenges, but you can't get voted out with an idol in your pocket twice after having a dream about it. And, I mean, I think this is amazing for me because I want Devins to win the whole thing. And I think Emily getting voted out is a vote for Devins on the jury. And unless Sari makes it to the final with Devins, I think Ozzy was so heartbroken that he's going to vote for Devins because Devins had nothing to do with him going home. But I think, yeah, Ozzy definitely should have played it. That was on him. It's sad to see, but...
It kind of reminded me, talking new era here, it kind of reminded me of Andy going up to Rachel and saying, this is what's going to happen, and this is why I'm going to win the $1 million. Thankfully for her, she had an idol, and she was able to steer the ship how she wanted it to go. But you don't do that in, the final 9? You don't do that.
That's the other thing. This isn't like Final Four, and you're about to give your speech in a few days, in a few hours. There is a lot of game left. There is almost a week left. And the fact, or more than a week actually, and the fact that he's coming to terms with the fact that, oh, I've won this season, this is write me the check now, that's not good jury management. Jury management is being kind to people, not blindsiding people always in rude ways of showy ways, but it's also not going and being like, so sorry, I'm voting for you, but you should vote for me at the end because this, and this. That is just a cocky way, in my opinion, of somebody being like, well, I'm not even out yet, so screw you. I'm going to try to figure out a way to not go out.
But I think that also shows how much Aussie management Sari was doing, because we're seeing how he acts whenever he doesn't have her telling him what he should and shouldn't be doing. So while I think this is by far the strongest he's strategized in a season and the best he's played in his Survivor career, I still think he has a lot of room for growth in that aspect because he's relied so heavily on another player that even if he did make it to the end, from someone who's not considering him as a whole and exclusively considering how he played this season, he relied so heavily on other people that I don't know if it is a winning game.
If I'm Ozzy, Rizzo, or Devins, and I had an idol, I'm definitely playing it this episode because this is basically a Final Five episode. It's such a small jury that if I had any sense that someone was after me, I would use it because knowing going back with the merge, like if Ozzy played his idol, he still would have had that Rizzo Surrey alliance that would have brought him far. Like he didn't need the idol in the late game. So like this is an important idol. It's basically a Final Five idol because when you get back to the big group, if you're in a good position, you wouldn't need to play it.
Perfectly said. I feel so bad, but also like you should have known better, which I feel like is something that he has said to himself over and over and over again. You can't be that confident. So I guess he will never beat the Boston Rob Challenge record. He will now have gone home with another idol in his pocket with a million regrets of things that he should have done and he should have not said and all that stuff.
Yeah, 2 million regrets now.
Mm,
Thanks
yeah.
to Devins.
Yep. um,
Can you guys tell that James likes Devons?
I
Biggest
mean,
Devins
so
supporter.
we,
He's winning
I
right
mean, yeah.
now. He's winning.
So let's talk about Devons. Let's go to this other tribal. So as we mentioned, there were two tribals. Jonathan won the immunity challenge. So, and I'm curious what your guys thought of, but this twist of them being separated, but instead of going to two different islands, they're just separated on the same island, and Jonathan could run back and forth however many times he'd like to talk strategy with both sides. I thought that that aspect was pretty cool. Um, I think he was playing the best he could have been playing. I think his strategy this episode was pretty great. He's impressed me a lot because I was afraid he would just fall under the Joe category of honor and integrity. I'm sticking with my alliance and that's it. He is doing the opposite of that. He is saying, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it to the end and win. I don't care if I have to backstab people. I'll make it work and I'll show up when I need to at the end. So I was impressed with him this week. What about you guys?
I really like his evolution. I know that's something that Jeff kind of talked about in one of the tribals, especially with Ozzy and Aubrey. We saw it with Ozzy, but we didn't see it go into full fruition. Aubrey, we're kind of getting there. With Jonathan, he's completely turned his game around. I know we have kind of been a little annoyed with him throughout the season, but I still got to like hand it to him that he's being very strategic. And I think it's interesting that the person who did the best in the challenge, who sometimes is a challenge beast or just overall very physical and fit, is going to get that strategic upper hand, which is something that I feel like we don't see that often. I was a little annoyed that it was a double elimination. It's like, really, at this point, like, we don't need any more twists. Let's just have a normal time. Let's have a normal game. But I guess that's just not going to exist in each episode in this season. But I thought it was cool to see him go back and forth. But moving forward, I think there's going to be a big target on his back, knowing that people understand that he can play both sides, and they have said that the middleman is the most dangerous person. So yes, Sari is just as, as much as a threat, but people should really be looking at him.
Yeah, I agree. I do think though that he is pretty well positioned after this week. As much as I agree that the middleman can be a target, I think that going back, they still have Devins, who as somebody that they want to go get out because he would probably win it all if he makes it to the end. They have Sari, who would definitely win it all if she makes it to the end. We have a lot of other people that are kind of, I feel like, at each other's throats right now that they won't work together to go for Jonathan quite yet. Maybe that will happen in a week or so, but I think for now he's done a good job of making it so that he is playing the game without being the biggest target.
But I think Jonathan's problem is he's like a little too close minded. Like he wants someone out and then he's like keeps going for that same person. which I think is going to backstab him. I think personally, Jonathan's not playing that much of a winning game. He's playing good for him, but if I was in Survivor, I would want to bring Tiffany with me and Joe to the final, and then right after that, it would be Jonathan. Because I feel like Jonathan, he's done some things, but he hasn't done enough strategic wise. I think the clear person to get out now is Suri, just because she's so powerful and she's kind of like I forget the winner that won twice, the first person to win twice, the woman's
Sandra.
name. She's kind of like Sandra, where she's like under the radar but very sneaky and can like attack. And I wonder what the dynamic's going to be like now that Ozzy's gone and Emily's gone, who was Devin's biggest ally. So her and Devin's are going to have to pivot a little.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that Emily vote off. So we get a really interesting group of Devins, Emily, Tiff, Suri, and then Jonathan. And it is very much a 2v2 with Jonathan in the middle. I respect how Emily went all out, and instead of just sitting back and being like, they're going to split the votes, it's going to be what it is, it's going to be 2-2, I'm probably going to go home, oh well. She really thought about it and was like, you know what, I'm going to make it so that they put more votes on Rick than they do me, and then Rick and I can vote out somebody. It was a great plan if Sari Fields, the master of Survivor, wasn't there. And she had an extra vote gifted to her by Ozzy. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that play was brilliant. I think I don't think that there would ever be a more beneficial use to an extra vote than right there and then when there's two people you may want to go home, and it guarantees playing that vote guarantees one of them goes home and that you don't.
I think Emily was playing a little bit too hard there too. I know she was probably going all out, but if everyone was all together, I 100% think that plan would have worked to put all the votes onto Devins and then, play the idol for her. But you could really tell that she was disappointed that he played the idol on himself, which is obviously what he should have done, even though it didn't matter in the end. But I thought that was interesting and fun to watch.
I mean, I think Suri did great with that play, but I still think that it was an amazing play by Devins and Emily. And like, let me talk about Devins. I love Devins. Devins by far like one of my favorites to ever play. He's so smart. I know it's not his idea, but he like executed that perfectly. If there wasn't that hidden advantage they didn't know about, it would have worked. If I'm still him, I'm still mentioning that because Suri is a huge threat, and that's such a smart way to get her out. And hopefully, people start to see her as a huge threat. I think Devins right now, the target on his back has been so big, and it's taking them a little too long to get him out that the target might get slower. Knock on some wood. I hope he doesn't go out next week. But I think he's played a flawless game so far. Flawless. And I think now that Emily's gone, I think he's going to find a new alliance, and that's going to make him either way more powerful or might bite him in the ass. But I hope it's more powerful.
I loved when he looked at Emily and he was like, worth a shot. And she was like, yeah. And it was like, they tried. It was, the odds were against them and they did a lot better than they probably should have. And like you just said, James, like it would have worked if it wasn't for the extra vote. So good on them. I'm happy that they tried. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna miss Emily. The chaos of Emily is so entertaining, and I loved just him, Rick and Evan, Rick and Emily talking at the end, and him being like, "I had so much fun playing with you," and it's like it makes sense because it's just two chaos agents playing together to cause absolute as much chaos as possible, and I love it.
What are the odds that you're voted off on the same exact day? Day 21.
Yeah, day 16 got Sandra twice, and now day 21 got Emily twice.
Voted off the same
It
day,
is.
and Ozzy was voted out the same way with Idol in his pocket.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of repetition.
You gotta learn from your mistakes. Someone else on in this tribe or vote off group, if you want to call it, there's been a lot of discourse online about Tiffany and whether she should have been the immune one this week. Do you guys have any like outstanding thoughts about that? Or, there are allegations that she cheated And then there are allegations that she accidentally touched her foot on there, and that's why she was.
I don't know if it was intentional or if it wasn't intentional. She still did it. And so she totally deserved to lose. Like, you saw every single person was on 2 feet, or was on 1 foot, trying not to fall off, and she had both of her feet there and lifts it up at the last second. So, not thinking it was malicious, there's a very large possibility that she was just trying to get her balance before going on 1 foot. But she missed her time, and Jeff, in many occasions in the past, when he does notice and somebody takes too long into transition, says, so and so is out, they took too long. So it's not like it was an unfair ruling. I think it made perfect sense.
Also, the episode would not have been as good if she was the one with the immunity and got the flip flop. I think I'm not gonna lie. I think she's pretty boring. I don't think she's done anything this season, pretty much. And I do think it was cheating because she was eyeing everyone down. If you look at the replay, she's looking at people with their foot off, and her reaction after Jeff says she lost, she's like yeah, she didn't like really. I don't know, but I think the episode was more entertaining with Jonathan, and I think it was like the biggest move for Jonathan himself. So maybe if Tiffany had that, it would have upped her game a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sad for her that she didn't get it because I think that would have been a huge opportunity for her to take more control of her game. And then for me, it was great because I want Aubrey to stay. I think for you guys, though, it would have been more beneficial if Suri would have had a lot more of her way if Tiffany was on both sides rather than Jonathan. So it would have been better in your longer terms. But with that being said, she very clearly did cheat. So it's more so I didn't like how it was edited necessarily. I also don't even think at the end of the day we needed to see it because it was very odd getting like the technical rules of the judges. That's happened before, and then that's also happened where they didn't point it out and caused like lawsuits and stuff. So while it's all previously happened, I kind of prefer it behind the scenes and it not taking up airtime so that we can focus on the actual game.
I think they just wanted a reaction out of her. If they would give her anything.
But she knew. She knew. She was like, yeah, fair enough. Like you
all
said.
she did was, and that's it. That's all we got, and we moved forward. It was fine. Something else I wanted to talk about too, kind of moving forward. In a sense, Rizzo turned his back on his alliance, which is something that we haven't really seen with him yet. What is the relationship now between him and Suri, if any, if you guys could guess or theorize or whatever?
I'm interested to see what happens because I kind of get where he's coming from. Because if my number one ally is telling this random person who we're planning on voting out his entire game plan, including his extra votes, his secret powers that he's just been keeping with me, and all of his strategy to make it to the end, I'm going to think, okay, so 1, that means you're prioritizing Suri over me. 2, it means you're not thinking like in a strategic mindset. And 3, you're going to be a liability to me. And if he had brought up Rizzo's name, it would have completely outed Rizzo's game. And so I think I understand why he did it. I don't think it was a just rash decision, but I do think him doing that will put a strand on Suri and his relationship.
I think Suri's gonna flip on him. To be honest, I think that would be the smart move for Suri because I think right behind Suri as a big target is him because he still has his idol. I think if he's the only one that still has their idol right now, and he has a history of saying, "Oh, I'm going to play the idol," and then not playing the idol, and he's going to keep doing that. So I think you actually have to get him out really early before he has the thought of playing the idol because he's probably going to lie about playing it and not play it until the very end. So I think he's a pretty big threat.
Since he has it, he does have a chance to stay at least one more week/episode or vote out. So that should, in theory, protect Rizzo. But I agree with what you guys are saying of how the votes are going to shake out, particularly with Suri and Suri's reaction, because she's been such a core character in a lot of the alliances happening this season, will be pivotal in seeing how the season is going to shake out for this like final quarter, where it makes the most sense for Rizzo to have gone against Ozzy. Ozzy, in a lot of ways, was an obstacle between him and Suri. And he wasn't benefiting Rizzo's game, nor would it benefit Rizzo's game to out their not-so-secret alliance as a trio. so keeping it private is better for him in the long run with the guys and Aubrey that were in that mini voting block. At the same time, is that fallout going to be what sends him home either next week with an idol in his pocket or at the beginning of the finale? As well as how does that shake out for the rest of the groups, where is someone like Aubrey or Tiffany, who's been very reserved, going to rise as we, in theory, see people like Devin's So Sorry James or Suri get voted out because of how strong of a character they've been so far this season?
So since we weren't able to have an episode last week, if we want to do a real quick speed run on all of our thoughts on the Mr. Beast appearance and Devin's big show at Travel.
I'm gonna go first if I can. I'm gonna say solidified himself in history. One of the best. Made the prize 2 million. Right now he has the votes on the jury. He's gonna win it if he stays in. He's done the most and he's taken the biggest risks. So yeah, I think he's great.
I just want to let you guys know that this was one of those episodes where I wish that we did not live on opposite sides of the country, because this was like a first time in a long time where I was like giddy. Like I was out, like I couldn't sit on my couch. Like I was just kind of like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like my heart was beating out of my chest. Like I was like, this is so fun and exciting. And I wish we were like there to like scream and hug each other and all that stuff. Cause that was the most fun I have ever had watching a Survivor episode. And especially this season. Like I definitely think that Mr. Beast is going to be the most memorable part of all of it. Even though we were making fun of it, even like Zach Brown was like insufferable and Mr. Beast was fabulous. So I this is my public apology to Mr. Beast. If you ever see this, I am so sorry for everything that I have said, and I take back everything that I said. Sue, the fact that you've been holding on to this for this long is crazy to me. Mad respect. I don't, no offense, James, I don't think Devin's really had much to do with this. I think him putting himself on the line was incredibly ballsy, and I think that may be a big reason why he might win this game. But the pure luck that he had with a coin flip, a 50-50 chance of it going the way that you want it to go, is insane to me. We do that with tribals all the time, 1 in 6, 1 in 5, 1 in 4, all that stuff. But like having something that's so out of your control and just kind of watching it was so much fun. It was so much fun. This is the only twist that we can do every 10 seasons, every 5 years, in my opinion. Like, this can never come back for a while. I know that was redundant, but you know what I mean? That's all I kind of have to say.
Guys, I gotta go. I'm sorry. Rick Devens is gonna win the whole thing. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Abby, your thoughts?
Mr. Beast 8. Never thought I'd say that.
It's true. I really loved it. I also I know I said this in our video that will never come out because it didn't record 2 of the 3 people's audios. So womp womp. But I said this then, and I'll say it again now. It made sense for Rick to be the person because he was going to go home. So it was literally as if he played a shot in the dark with 1 in 6 chances, but made his chances so much better. And there was a lot of upside in a 50-50 chance and possibly doubling it and getting an idol.
I'm pretty sure he says that in the episode as well.
Oh, look at that. Bam.
Because
I've never had an original thought in my life.
I think that's why the episode was so enjoyable, though, is like all of the logic of what happens makes a lot of sense, and then you get the reward of, whoever's playing wins $2 million again. Where the only other season was season 40, so it feels like a reward worth it compared to, unfortunately, some of our other celebrity visits being not so grand rewards for what they bring to the table. And I felt like it was a very tasteful degree of all of us are in the demographic that understands who Mr. Beast is. I would think a lot of people watching don't know who that is. So having him tastefully introduced in a way that would satisfy people who are his audience, but not turn off people that aren't his audience, I felt like was a lot better than the lack thereof presence of some celebrities or the overabundant presence of others.
Yeah, 100%.
With
And
all that being said, I will say that's why I kind of needed a break with the twists. That was too much. The Mr. Beast stuff was too much in the best way possible. So while again it was fun to see Jonathan do his thing and see the gameplay on different sides of the island, it was just like, can we just have one normal one normal go around?
Well, and if
yeah,
you think about how slow the season started as well, coming especially from someone like Emily who loves producing, I would think that is something where the Survivor gods maybe put it a little end heavy rather than spreading it out a little more evenly throughout the season. And I don't quite understand why they're doing it like that because it feels like they, as everyone talked about from contestants on the island who have told us that they were thinking this to us recapping it weekly, it really kind of feels like they forgot they had so many people. And the finale is in 2 weeks, I hope we all realize. We have one more regular episode and then the finale of either 5 or 6 people.
yeah.
So they've had to take people out. It made sense that it happened, but I agree with you, Emily. If I feel a little overwhelmed with the amount of shock value blending into each other. We just got $2 million, completely forgot about it because now we're getting rid of 2 people all of a sudden.
And like I understand wanting everyone to kind of get to know the cast of the season and taking it slow in the beginning, but still I do think that we should have had at least one, maybe even two more episodes of double eliminations. Because the first double elimination, not including the premiere, which also was one vote off and a medevac for 3 hours worth of content, was the Charlie and vote off when it was Charlie who went home and on one tribal, and then we saw on the other tribal Angelina go home. And that was the first time the entire season in which we had a double, and that was like 6 weeks in, 5 weeks in, like some crazy amount of time. So I really do think that it rushed. It definitely rushed at the end, but it was necessary because going into a finale with 8 people, 7 people is way too much. So I understand it having two tribals. And I think the way they did it, I'm not a big fan of just going to rocks and letting fate decide the different tribes. It maybe would be even cooler if how they did it one year was like how well you do on the challenge, like first place, third place, fifth place, seventh place, all are on one, and then two, four, like are on the other. I That could even be a little bit more strategic, especially because you're like, oh, I really want to be on this tribal with somebody. I'll drop right now, and then wait for somebody else to drop, and then I'll drop. Um, then just like picking rocks and having it be completely luck based.
I have a random but on track conversation I want to have. I am upset with how idols were dealt with this season. I think the boomerang idol was cool in concept. Mother Vive had it correct with Mr. Ozzy, Oscar, okay? But she wasn't there to to get it back, so that stunk. But talking about shock value, I think that's kind of what we were missing a little bit is a secret hidden immunity idol where no one knows that you have it, and you bring that shock to everybody else rather than the twist itself just being the shock value. Like I wish that yes, players do have the power and the choice to do what they want with what they've been given, but that's like the one little maybe picky thing that I will add to all of this is I wish there was, the Rachel boom, here's my hidden immunity idol.
I agree with the defense that is somewhat how the players were playing it rather than how the producers organized it. So while I wish it was more player centric, that's ultimately the player's fault for blabbing a little too much because I think it was Genevieve who didn't reveal that Ozzy's idol was hers, so that shock value would have been very satisfying, but the vote out orders fell in a way where Ozzy was so much later. His idol didn't matter. She's already gone home. No one really cares anymore. They can assume it was someone who's gone home and it's not going to come back. I would put in theory. Someone like Devins might remember that and pull it back for next week's episode. Shout out James, he'd support that. But I think it's the way that they use the tools rather than the tools fault themselves.
Yeah, I think it would have honestly made more sense if we had more double eliminations in the beginning of the game and had the Billie Eilish idols incorporated in the beginning of the game. Because if we're having so like few amount of eliminations in the beginning and then ramping it up at the end, there's a lot more likely of a chance that the people are already going to be out who maybe have played them and don't have that protection. So it would have been interesting. But
If we were gonna have the slow burn, we might as well have had even confessionals. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, but that's
well,
old news.
anyway, that was our review of this week and a little mini review of last week's episode. And now it is time for everyone's favorite part of the episode, Meme of the Week.
Meme of the week.
Meme of the week.
All right, so I will go first. My meme is based off of one of Abby's favorite movies, especially, but a movie that we all love. Or actually, I don't know about Emily's opinions. But it says, Ozzy, utterly determined to blow his game up the moment he's out of Ceri's sight. Ceri, time traveling into Ozzy's dreams the night before to beg him to play his idol. And then it's the Interstellar meme of him knocking on the door when he went into the past to try and with the daughter.
That's so good. That's so good.
I love the idea of her going back in time to tell him in his dream to play the damn idol, and he still doesn't do it.
Yeah, I love how she said, I wish there was like a secret code I could have sent to him or whatever to get him to play his idol. It's too funny. On the same wavelength, I don't know what movie this is from. I should probably know, but I'm sure you guys will tell me. The way Rizzo told Ozzy, "You told too much," on his way out was pretty much this.
The Godfather.
Yeah, oops. You guys know that. The podcast people can know that.
Ozzy theme this week. My Twitter feed was all SpongeBob memes about Ozzy. So I have Ozzy on an island without Ceri for 12 minutes, and it's Patrick going, "Mom, pick me up, I'm scared."
I also saw this one too. It's the same thing. It's so funny.
Why do you always have the best memes, Emily? I think about the Christian in the bag every day. Every day.
And it's the fact that it was the Clementine's bag. That it's such a specific, like, memory.
Guys, stop gassing me up.
Well, thank you guys all so much for listening to this week's episode of Surviving Survivor. Sorry we missed you last week, but hey, things happen and technical difficulties happen, and my computer hates me, apparently.
Life's been hard, but you know what? We're bouncing back. We're dominating for the rest of this season, just like some of our players might be. We'll see. Wait.
Yeah, a little recap. I am now down to one.
Draft update is Piper Nixon, Ethan Berman, Emily McGlynn, and now Cameron Hightower are all officially out of the draft and finalized with their places. Remaining is Jack Fraser with one player, Jonathan.
Oh my god.
Walker with Ceri and Tiffany. Sabrina with Rizzo and Rick Devins. And then me with Aubrey and Joe. So we have Jack with a pretty good placement because his two other players went out in the middle of the season. So if Jonathan were to win, Jack would most likely win, I believe, depending how numbers break down. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's a more tight race between myself, Walker, and Sabrina for a final first place.
We will see. Well, tune in next week as somebody either loses one more member of their draft or I am eliminated. So we will update you then.
Bye.